over to her side of the net, and I started to toss a few balls to her. And I said to myself, is it me? Is it my toss? With instructions that were something like, keep your eye on the ball, concentrate, follow through. I'm getting frustrated. I went right up next to her and I said, you know, after 12 times, even a monkey can hit a tennis ball. So she whacked me on the shin with the racket. I mean, I still have a mark in the shape of a banana. Now that was a crisis, you see, that caused change in me. So she's been my instructor on how to behave socially for the last 38 years. Back to our crisis. What we did with this boutique firm was we studied them and figured out that they were really good at financial planning and they looked good. But in fact, their implementation strategy wasn't good. They were sporadic. Their customer contact was sporadic. So what we did was we fully implemented 1242. We fully implemented the financial planning process for those people that were at risk. So we took our best producers, we created these kind of virtual private banking groups. And we asked them to reduce their practices from 600 down to 200 at the time. That was our model. And we stemmed the tide. But one of the problems was they weren't consistent in their customer contact. You see, our model isn't set up to help them be consistent. So if they weren't there or they weren't conscientious, they weren't making the contact. So we said we got to come up with a better model. So we studied the other professions and we settled in on the dentist model. You see, dentists are brilliant. Dentists have it figured out. The dentist may own the practice, but they don't run the practice. So when you walk into a dentist's office, who greets you? The branch office administrator. The branch office administrator. Okay? Turns you over to the dental hygienist, who cleans your teeth, and then turns you over back to the dentist, who looks for opportunities for more business, figures out that you need new gold fillings, sends you back to the dental hygienist who takes you there, you pay your bill, and you do what? Set up your next appointment, you see, with the administrator. So who's in charge of the practice? When was the last time you got a call from your dentist? Never, you see? Because the dentist is in charge owns the practice, but the administrator is in charge of the practice. So we adopted the Supernova model and flipped around who was responsible for what. So everybody had to change their roles. Now what we found was by changing their roles, the advisors spent much more of their time with the clients and the administrators took care of administration. See, today, the advisors are doing administration and the administrators doing administration. So we just separated the roles and the productivity went up. And we had a consistent experience. So what is different about Supernova versus every other business model that's out there? And there are some differences, important differences, that I think make Supernova unique and why it works when others don't work. There are 5 different parts of Supernova. The first one is planning. George Kemp came to me and said, Rob, you know, I came in the business to do planning. And I'm not able to. I want to do this batch processing and make sure everybody has their beneficiaries and everybody has their trust services, and everybody has their wills, and I'm just not able to get to them because I have 300 plans and I've got 650 clients. What should I do? I said, George, your only answer, frankly, is to reduce your practice down to what matters most and help you to do what you love. So George took it seriously. He created 11 different screens. He took a couple of months to do this. And out through those screens came, guess how many clients? 33. And he said, what do you think I should do? I said, George, you're scaring me. Well, George made the decision to only service 33 clients. You see, those 33 clients represented 90% of his business. The branch office administrator said, now what am I supposed to do? With 33 clients, you can imagine. George was able to not only do 1242, multi-generational planning, but he was actually able to spend a full day with each client. A full day, not playing golf, but walking the plant floor and meeting the employees, meeting with a wealthy family and conducting a family meeting with them and helping them through that process of understanding generational change. He said, Rob, this is what I came in the business for. This is fun. And incidentally, because people liked what he was doing, they gave him more business. They gave him more assets, and they gave him more referrals, and he doubled his business in 24 months. So he was one of our original pioneers. So what is the difference between Supernova planning and other planning? Well, every single client, all 100 passengers, has a plan. People ask me all the time, well, what do I talk to when I call these people? What do I say to these people 12 times a year? What you do is you create an agenda that comes out of the financial plan, and you talk to them about their life. Somebody said, what do I say to these people if they don't, 12 times a year? I said, well, first of all, stop talking and start listening, right? Listen. They've got lives. They want to be heard. Who listens to them? Not their kids, not their employees, sometimes their wife, maybe their husband, circumstance. You will listen to them, and you will know them like you know a friend, and you care about them. So that's the difference between our Supernova planning and other planning. Next is segmentation. What's the difference between Supernova and other segmentation forms? Now, I haven't heard it here a lot, but what I hear from others is, yeah, I give my level 1 clients this service, and I give my level 2 clients this service, and my level 3 clients this service, and my level 4 clients this service. And then I asked the branch office administrator, not yours, what is the level of service that you're giving overall? I did this and asked one of mine when we were first doing this. And he said, average. Overall, it's average. I said, that's great. That's exciting. That'll get you a lot of referrals. So, and if you talk to people that have done it, it doesn't work because you've got too many accounts and nobody can keep track of that model. And do it if you want, but all you do is spend all day still servicing your clients and trying to keep track of who gets what birthday card when and what package of this. And it's just crazy. So we only have one level of service. And that's the ultimate client experience, as David was talking about today. The ultimate client experience. You want to give them something that is memorable. One level of service. And that's 1242. Not 431 or something else. 1242 goes to everybody. Therefore, you know what every person is getting. you can then use that as one of your acquisition tools we'll talk about in a minute, branding. So they get 1242, and we only have 100 clients. Why 100? Why did we come from 200 down to 100? The guys did it. This whole thing is built by my pilots, not by me. All I did was take good notes and coach them along the way. They were the ones out experimenting with this and determining what works and what doesn't work. And they simply said, we have no time in the day for anything except calling when we have 200 clients. We want to get down to 100. I said, great, that'll be our number then. 100 is our goal. That's usually who's giving you all your business anyway. So I love to buy suits. And my wife got upset because my rack in my suit closet broke. You see, I'm about the same size as I was when I came out of the Navy, so I just collected suits. And she said, get rid of your suits. I said, but they're perfectly good suits. They fit me, and one of them might hit the lottery. You never know, right? So I gave away my suits. 2 years later, remember, I like to buy suits. 2 years later, what does my closet look like? Same way, right? So I had to create a maximum. And so my maximum I established. Now I'm in Hong Kong, and I mean, it's exciting. They've got great tailors. So I go in, I got pictures of the kings and all kinds of people on the wall that have bought suits there, and I buy a couple of suits. It's a Super 130, and it's a beautiful, a couple of beautiful suits. And the problem is I only had one fitting. And I brought it home, and it just didn't fit, It just didn't look right. See, it kind of fit me like this, you see. And it was, in fact, unsuitable. Thank you. So when you determine what your minimum is going to be, consider that it's not just revenues or assets. It's got to be suitable for you, somebody that fits through your personal screen. So we created what we call the min and the max. And that is different from what you'll see with other people and other models. So the min and the max. Organization. 1242 is our basic model. We implemented it using the dentist model. That works. People like it because we only have 100 clients. Trying to implement 1242 with 850 clients, which is, of course, I already know, the average number of households in this group. Your branch office administrators would go insane. So we won't even consider that. But with 100 clients, you can implement 1242. We inverted the pyramid, and we put the branch office administrator in charge. And what we do with organization is use it then as a tool in acquisition. All right, acquisition. Now we've reserved half of your time now for acquisition. Half of your day is spent on servicing your existing clients, and the other half is reserved for bringing in new clients. George Kemp said, I would not have had the confidence to segment my book if I didn't have the courage, all right? Or I wouldn't have the courage to segment my book if I didn't have the confidence that I could bring in new clients. See, George knew that he was capable of it. Each of you know you're capable because you already built these great businesses. You have the talent. to fill the gap, whatever gap there is. All George had to do was fill a 10% gap. Now, remember the story of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade? If you've read the book, it goes throughout the book. And there's Indy standing on the edge of a great precipice. And he's reading out of a diary. And behind him, he hears, "Indy, hurry!" You see, his father has been shot and is dying, mortally wounded. And Indy reads in the diary that across this great precipice is a cave, and inside is the Holy Grail. The only possibility for his father to live is to drink from the Holy Grail. His father then says, "Indy, hurry, you must have faith." So Indy takes this one great leap of faith and steps down on the invisible bridge, and it's there. He then crosses the bridge, takes some sand, and throws it back for those that follow. You see, the invisible bridge and the courage and the leap of faith is not the segmentation part. The leap of faith is the courage that you will actually be able, and the confidence that you will be able to replace those clients. So what does Supernova do for you, though, in acquisition that other things don't? Well, it brands you. It gives you the ability to be branded. Now, you've heard about branding, right? Everybody tells you to brand yourself. And how do you brand yourself? With performance? That goes up and down. Interest rates go up and down. It's impossible to brand yourself on how you do in terms of performance, but you can brand yourself on service, which this great organization has already figured out. So who are you? You give multi-generational planning, you call your clients monthly, and you give rapid response to your clients. 1-hour response, 24-hour resolution, and nobody else gives that. We guarantee that. If we don't do it, you fire us. Wow, that's a brand. You can use that brand then to go out and market yourself, but you must do it consistently. If you don't do it consistently, you break the trust, and therefore your brand is hurt. Somebody said, well, why can't I just keep some of my small accounts? And I said, well, there's these two guys that are standing in front of the Ritz. And one asks the other one, how was your stay? And the guy says, not so good. Why? Mine was great. What happened? Well, they gave me a room. They gave me I only had to pay $25. But they put me in the basement. I slept on a cot. I had no privacy. I had to share a bathroom. And they gave me scraps from the kitchen. I'm never staying at the Ritz again. That's it. Anybody had that experience at the Ritz? No. The reason is it doesn't happen, you see. They only have one level of service. If you can pay the entrance fee, you get great service. So to have a brand, you can't have different levels of service. You can't be hiding people in the basement. That's your brand. Your brand is not determined by your best client. It's determined by your lowest paying client, your worst client, not your best. Really important. The last thing about acquisition we do is to help you, and that is